Hello, welcome to the second session. I am the player Edward and this is my channel. I'm the PPG, and here is our GM, the Almighty God.
Hi, I'm Xanton. I'm the GM, and not God, technically. So, everyone ready to jump in?
Right.
Yep.
We're going through the warp today, aren't we?
Yes. The last time we left off, the ship had undocked from Footfall and was heading towards the accursed Demise. You hadn't quite jumped into the warp yet. So, guess what we're doing today?
Trying to find us or not.
We were going to stop on a little side quest for NGS. If you remember, there was a archaeotech artifact on Bertram's Folly, which, now that I think about it, I have written down as Bertram's Error far too many times.
Do you want me to put
Anyway.
the token down?
Not yet. You'll find out why in a second.
Okie dokie.
So, if you could all have a quick look at roll 20
Okay, on that.
to remind you where you are and where you're going.
Footfall.
And so the circles begin.
Footfall. Never has there been a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
So yes, at blistering speeds, the dramatic compensation blasts away from Footfall towards the safe-ish area where it can jump into the warp. For those that aren't aware, the warp is essentially another dimension that hides underneath our one, where time and space are practically irrelevant, and emotions and willpower create, form, and change this universe. It's a dangerous place full of monsters and demons. But most ships are safe, thanks to a thing called a Geller field.
Or in our case, what's our little thing on? We've got a special one called a Warpsbane Hull.
So essentially, on the outside of the ship, there's thousands, well, probably millions and millions of religious artifacts, devotional pendants, these kind of things that keep the ship safe, in theory. But nothing's ever perfect with the warp. So the ship blasts through empty space for a little bit. Takes a few hours to get there. Unless anyone would like to jump in and do something, I'm going to jump us to the warp.
Oh. Before you do,
Oh,
I would like to give an official order. What was our what was his name? Oh, yes. Hamden? Or Haddon?
he's currently up in the navigator spire, but you can radio him.
Oh, right, yeah, and I pulled out a little like a tube and speaking to her. Haddon!
Yes!
Take us into the warp.
Yes.
Thank you. I look around the room, smiling at everyone.
Would anyone else like to do something? So, you are all on the bridge of the ship, which may or may not look like this. The engines the sublight engines power down a little bit. Your blistering pace has slowed to a more tranquil walk, and the ship no longer shudders as it travels. The ship begins procedures to jump, to essentially teleport into the warp. And it starts by the heavy, resounding clank of every single window being covered by gigantic shutters. They slowly ratchet down, and the bridge becomes dark, with only the projector to light up the way.
Turns out looking into hell drives you insane. Who knew?
Yeah, pretty much. That's a pretty good way of putting it. The engines power down to the point where they're not functioning anymore, and the warp drive starts winding up. It's a terrible, grinding noise that grates on your skin. And as it reaches full power, you feel the hairs on the back of your, well, all over you, raise up, as if something unnatural is about to happen. There's a small lurch as the ship jumps forward, which you're reliably being told by the servitors around you is that you've just jumped through the portal. You can't see out into this dimension, but it feels weird. It's almost like you've walked into a furnace. Suddenly the ship has got really hot.
Question.
Answer.
Would I be feeling this given Edward's condition?
Yes.
But I am not in the warp. I have no warp presence. I
I'm
mean, the
aware
heat.
of that.
The heat. Would I feel the heat, though?
You would feel the heat because the entire ship is heating up.
Okay,
You're not stopping the heat. You're stopping things.
I was more making about the odd sensations because of the warp.
Oh yeah, that's quite true. Yes, you wouldn't feel the hairs on the back of your spine. You would feel the things like the ship shuddering or the brief moving forward, etc., etc.
Okay. Just clarifying.
So, the ship noticeably gets hotter. You've heard rumours about what happens while you're in the warp, but generally you're quite safe. Generally. Each of you, apart from Edward, because I worked out he was a blank, blah blah blah, should now have something next to your character sheet.
As it is getting hot, Edward takes off his shirt.
Ooh,
Yes, Edward is sitting there with his impressive six-pack on the bridge without a shirt on. I have 50 strength, I can justify that. Getting a tad hot in here.
One at a time.
Look around the room. You guys feeling okay?
I can only nod.
I'm gathering data that it's getting hotter in here.
I wish there was a just reveal what you've done button. That would be so much easier.
Yeah, but then you might accidentally reveal everything you're getting. Oh, for some reason I've got a travelling through the warp thing for me.
Yeah, that's for everyone. It's just a basic background thing.
Oh, I see. Okay, sorry.
Hello? I'll put the phone down, sorry.
Right, there we go. So, as the ship gets hotter and hotter, you start to notice some rather odd things are happening. Without exception, these don't happen. Sorry, these happen to everyone except to Edward.
Mm-hmm.
So, the first and most obvious thing is, because it's getting really hot, you're all sweating. just little bits, on the forehead and such forth. So you try and wipe it away. But you're not sweating sweat. You kind of take a little bit off and have a look. It's honey. You are sweating honey. You don't quite know why, but this is a weird dimension. Having a look round at the rest of the crew, you can see everyone else is a bit perplexed to this as well. And even the slightest glance towards the walls, or in fact any consoles, make you realise that it looks like the ship is melting like a candle. It's not very quick, but it's enough to notice that the walls kind of sag as they go. It looks really weird. Occasionally you'll see little bubbles where the pockets of wax walls get a little bit too hot. From the speaker where you contacted Haddon, there's a reply. We have transferred, sir. Stress and strain in his voice. He's obviously doing something quite difficult. From what you worked out earlier, this journey should take about a day.
So we weren't going to do any rolls on the thing, are we?
Because it's done by an NPC navigator, I've already done them.
Did you do the warp sprain hole where you get to pick between the two?
I did, yes.
Okay, just checking.
I thought save a bit of time for everyone. Just get it done. So, who wants to talk first?
Well, Edward's largely oblivious to all of this because he's doing sit-ups suddenly.
I mean, you can see it happening to everyone else. It just doesn't happen to you.
Oh, fair enough. It was like, huh, that's got to be one of the oddest things I've ever seen when going into the warp.
I will
Seeing
check on the
that-
Geller fields, just in case.
Thank you, Rangers. Please see to that.
Seeing that Edward has taken his shirt off, I take mine off as well, because why not?
Edward does not bat an eye. Marcella, would you please give a, just to alleviate people, would you please give a rousing speech in the name of the God Emperor? You are a priest, right?
Yes, but you did kind of put her on the spot.
Yes, and I'm standing here with no top on, trying to make a speech. It's just, it's tough to. I do make a speech off the top of my head. I can't actually, I'm not. I feel like doing it would be like.
Do you want-
now? Would be a bit weird.
Do you want to roll for it?
Yeah. So.
Since,
Sorry.
you're not too familiar with it. We can make up something that sounds motivational-ish.
Yeah.
You get a +10 because
What
I
was
gave you the order.
So if you go into your character sheet, so you should see a variety of skills.
Yep.
Depending on how you want to do this. Basically, how do you want to rouse them? Do you want to make them feel like everything's going to be okay? Or do you want to, use hard and fast logic to be like, yeah, we're in a good ship? Or would you like to try something a bit more, I don't know, strange?
Well, so, I'm saying that with my shirt on, so if it's a strange thing, could be a good
By the way,
idea.
you're doing this over a communicator to the whole ship, so they can't see you.
We could probably change that. I'd probably suggest logic, because you're quite good at that. So if you find logic on your sheet, there's a 39 to the right of it.
Yep.
If you click that,
And then a 10 when
Yeah.
it says input. Oof.
ouch. The surprise of watching the walls melt and then suddenly being told to be motivation, you kind of stand there a bit hesitantly and go, "We'll be fine?" It doesn't sound very convincing.
Yeah.
Edward's expression sort of falls slightly as he looks to you like, really? Really? My first trip into the corridor's expanse, and this is what we go off on. Okay. Now that my adventure boner has been thoroughly dismissed, I am going to go to my bedroom and read a book.
Okay. For everyone else, I would suggest you have a look at the while travelling through the warp you hear, which is next to each of your character sheets.
Squeaky chair is squeaky.
Have we got Aravar back?
Mm-mm.
Nope.
No.
Okay. So, you have a bit of time to travel through the warp. The ship shakes a little, as if it's in a really high wind or a gust or something. But not too much goes wrong. Mostly. So, Edward,
Yes.
as you travel through the corridors, it's not too far to your rooms. You proceed along, you know. You do notice that something is happening to the ship. It's not major, it's not structural, but there are problems.
Mm-hmm.
You proceed to your room and you pick up a book.
Yep, I pick up The Tales of Sir Cognacious. I'm just browsing through its various pages. I'm just sitting there on my chair, which is slowly turning into honey. It sounds a little underneath, and like, all the things that go through the warp, we had to hit a honey pot.
People are sweating honey, the walls are wax. Small difference, but yeah.
It will correct itself when we get back to when we get back to real space.
It will. Engius, you were going to look at the Geller fields, weren't you?
Yep.
So you're on the bridge, and it's an easy walk to one of the terminals to double check the Geller fields. Can you make a tech use roll, please?
Sure. I'm gonna re-roll it. Using a fate point.
Don't forget you get a combi tool, so you get a +10.
Forgot about it.
There we go. There's our super tech priest.
Excellent. Okay, so with a little bit of interface with the various devices, a little bit of tapping and working out these kind of things, you do also kind of pull your fingers away on some occasions, and you're like, ew, fleshy, morsel, ugh. You work out that the Geller field is working, it's perfectly functional, apart from a few little cracks. You don't know what's gone wrong, but something has happened to let small amounts of warp energy in. Not enough to threaten anyone, but something you should probably look into once you get back into real space.
I'll note it down.
I would think it's
Okay.
in 4 degrees of success he would figure it out, but you're the GM.
I am aware of that. But there's only so much you can do with a console.
Touche.
Okay. Would anyone else like to do anything else, or shall I jump in time ahead a bit?
Jump in time would probably be good.
I mean, there's lots of stuff I could do, but I have a feeling I'll be doing it by myself.
Well, you could do it with others. You could invite them along.
Well, which one? Well, Edward is going to go down to the kitchen, actually. Anyone like to join him?
I'd say to join him.
I'll stay in the bridge and looking at the councils.
Okay.
Fair enough. And Edward is going to try and use the... Tell me, what's happened to the food while we're actually in the warp?
90% of it is okay. Occasionally you find, let's say, the odd potato or the odd carrot that's stuck to the neighbouring carrot. It's not particularly pretty.
I mean, that's just a double-headed carrot. Those exist. Well, Edward's going to try and bake a cake. Okay, so flour, water, sugar, icing sugar. And he goes through with the list. And he's going to try and bake a cake. And I'll take my time doing this, but would that be an intelligence roll or a trade roll?
It would be a trade roll.
Okay, so since I'm taking my time doing this, would I get a bonus?
I don't know if there's an equivalent of taking 10 in this, actually. I would say you're being very careful, so plus 10. Like, you're taking your time.
Alright,
Other
so
people can help with this if you'd like. It's called assistance.
would you like to help me?
Yeah, sure.
How much would that give us?
Marcella needs to get at least one success, and then she will give you your plus 10.
So I've got to roll at least a 20 under a 26. So I've got to get a under a 26 for me to bake a cake. Okay.
Out of curiosity, why are you baking a cake?
Because Edward wants to.
What? And why does anyone bake a cake?
Edward is a man of spontaneous habits. In the old game, he bought 10,000 pots randomly because he wanted to.
Can a habit be spontaneous?
No, sorry, well, it's just spontaneous things. He does things.
Okay.
Right, cooking a cake. Ooh. That was close.
You're not quite sure what it is about the ingredients today, but they don't quite act right.
Hold on. We've got to see what Marcella gets. Because she might decide this.
So which one's the rule? Sorry, it's the 2-week thing.
Yeah, it's okay. So,
What's your intelligence?
Intelligence is at this moment 0. Intelligence is,
What is it?
39.
39. Okay, you've got to cut that in half, so I believe that's what you do with a skill if you don't have it. So 39 divided by
if it's a basic skill, yes. If it's an advanced skill, you can't do it.
well, this is cooking, so take off 19. So just do it and do minus 19 and try to get under that.
If this is trade, then it's an advanced skill and she can't help.
Well, it's rather silly you can't attempt to make a cake.
I'm not contesting that
3
one.
times.
Yeah. Is it
You
a lost technology?
Some of the machines used to cook are.
Well, the tech priests are obsessed with toasters. Make a roll. And screw up and make me burn my cake.
For the moment, just do an intelligence roll.
1 second.
Just click on the word intelligence above the number. It should flash up and it should work.
So it's minus minus 19.
No, he said just do it. So
No pluses or minuses.
just flat.
I mean, most people can work out how cooking works.
You think so? So it's 20, isn't it?
Yes, it has to get under your intelligence.
Oh my lord.
It must be something about the warp. It's changing the cake or the ingredients or how fire works on a fundamental level.
They put in a sponge and it comes out as a souffle.
It comes out as a souffle.
And deflates.
It doesn't taste like a souffle.
Tastes like beef.
Oh, God.
So it's tolerable. Like, people could eat it, but it's not your best success ever.
Well, Edward's not going to eat it. He finishes cooking it and then he offers it to Marcella.
I try it.
It tastes like roast beef. It's really strange to have, well, something like that.
Yeah, quite.
You're going to say thank you.
Apparently
Thank you.
not. And it was like, no problem at all. This is an adventure, thus we must celebrate it with something. And I didn't have much cake growing up. And I'm not supposed to eat it. And just seeing you happy eating it's making me happy.
I eat it while also, but even if it is disgusting, I've been trained. I've seen the diplomatic training enough to not make a face too much.
Well, that was my thing, so...
Well, and then I agree. Of course, it's good.
Yay! Well, that was my thing. Anyone else want to do something?
Vega, would you like to do something?
No.
Okay. Sorry, I'm struggling to hear you, Vega.
Yeah, sorry, I'm tired, so I'm quiet today.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I remember.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. So, about a day passes in the warp where everything is a little bit unusual. You know, you turn around a corner and you get the feeling that you've turned too far, but you're still looking in the right direction. Small little things where you just feel off. Until about 20, 22 hours later, you all get summoned back to the bridge from doing whatever you're doing.
Edward's already in the bridge and he's doing crunches on the ceiling.
Okay.
Hey guys.
Greetings.
Who summoned us here?
Haddon, the navigator.
Okay. Hey Haddon, I say as I crunch. Well, what's up? I say through the speaking tubes.
He's still speaking through the tubes, so you can't really see him. We're nearly ready, sir. Nearly there.
Ah, excellent. Take us out of the warp!
Yes. There is a sudden clunk as a clunk, and the ship almost slows and stops as it comes back into reality, and you feel everything settling back into itself. All the oddities and weirdness that you witnessed is no longer there. You still feel sticky from the honey running down you, though.
Edward just stretches, takes some of the honey off, rubs it through his fingers and flicks it off. Well, that was an experience.
As the shutters open to show you the void of space again, there is a almighty crunch as something hits the shields.
Okay, who's shooting at us? Somebody do a scan or something. Angius! Who's shooting at us?
Not sure yet.
Don't forget to add our detection rating.
Could you use a tech use to find out?
Yeah, there's actually a scrutiny test actually to use scanners. Does anyone have scrutiny?
You have to look really hard at the scans to make sure you know what's happening.
Yeah, I've got scrutiny.
Alright, add 35 to your scrutiny roll.
Yay.
Marcella got it.
Yay.
3 degrees of success.
As the shutters come up, Marcella frantically looks down at the pedestal which holds the readings for the sensors. You're not being shot. You've just translated back into real space in the middle of an asteroid field.
Who here's got pilot, if anyone?
I don't think anyone does, but the crew can do it competently. Or one of you can do it incompetently.
Edward rushes to the wheel!
I like to imagine that there is actually a wheel.
Edward had it installed. Make a pilot roll plus our maneuverability.
That's an advanced skill, so you can't do it. No one has it, so we'll just say that the crew jump to it. You shout at them to get it done, if that makes sense.
Alright, they get a plus 10, and they get the plus of the maneuverability, which is they get a 45 plus 45 in total on top of 30, which is their base value. So, yeah, they've got to roll under a 75. Can I do a roll 1d100?
Yeah, go ahead. Marcella, you've spent a great deal of time looking at these screens. You understand what's going on.
Screw you!
No, not you, Marcella.
No, not you, not you. It's just the, I got a 76.
I know, I saw. The asteroid field is not particularly dense, but the objects in it are travelling strange and random directions.
Okay.
Somewhere slightly deeper in this asteroid field is a tiny planet. It's probably only just bigger than a moon.
Okay.
You might have to tell the rest of the crew.
I inform the rest of the crew. Case. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's I need to roll in.
No, you just need to tell us.
Yeah, there is a small asteroid. I tell you, in
Okay.
it's like
Don't say you tell us, just say what your character would say to tell us.
dudes, there's a shit's going down. That's what I'm telling.
Harry's shit's going down. Where? Where is this shit going down? Which way? What do we do?
It's everywhere.
Fire guns in all directions!
Some of the crew members, who know you only have one gun, which can only shoot in one direction, kind of hesitantly start moving towards the gun. Yes, sir?
If they're coming from all directions, we shall fire at them in all directions. This is what happens if you give Edward inconclusive data.
You hear the guns thunder into life. Various broadsides are fired almost at random into the void. Some of the asteroids get really wrecked.
Does that mitigate for our bad roll?
Yes.
Yay!
I live.
Okay,
Oh,
Marcella, did we kill who was coming at us in all directions?
Yes.
You killed some of them? Yes. Okay.
Keep firing then! The only way you're going to get me to stop is if you actually tell Edward there wasn't anything or they're dead.
I think there.
Nothing good.
Slash first.
There we go. The shooting is competently done.
Because I did give an order, so yay.
Various pieces of debris, asteroid, and other metallic stuff is shattered by your vast broadsides of guns.
Yes! Take that, whoever you are!
You could probably look out the window, you know.
I am, but unfortunately, I can't see an object at 10,000 miles away.
Do
No
gooder.
problem.
The explosives.
Sorry, you
way,
both
they-
spoke at the same time.
Oh, I said you'll probably see the explosions.
Ah,
I was just saying do gooder.
now. Now that whoever that was dealt with. So, what do we do now? Back into the warp? Bypass this whole adventure?
NGS, do you remember why you were travelling along this direction?
Yep.
You're pretty certain that you've arrived. For those that don't remember, a place called Bertram's Folly, or Error, there you go, has uncovered some archaeotech. And NGS was particularly keen to go and find it.
That's correct. I believe we should go to the nearest planet of Bertram's error to find out what they found. Is it alright with you, Edward?
Oh yes, perfectly fine. Steer us towards Bertram's error, whichever direction that's in.
In combination with the information Marcella has got and the very confused crewman who's piloting the ship, you can guess that the small planet ahead of you, through the asteroid field, is the one you're looking for. Sir, it might be dangerous to go through there, says the guy piloting the ship.
Okay, then just go up and over the asteroid field.
By your will, sir. It will take longer, though.
And we reduce travel time by 1d5 weeks.
Edward, I too am a pilot if you'd rather me fly.
A Xenos fly my ship?
And maybe a hunk of bolts, but I can get it there better than he can.
Okay.
The slightly annoyed crewman who was having his moment to shine in front of the wheel of the ship kind of sulks away, letting the Xenos take the wheel.
In
Something-
true Eldar fashion.
Something about your ears is muttered as he leaves. So, Aravar, if you could make a pilot skill check.
Any modifiers?
Unless Edward is shouting at you? No. I mean, ordering you.
Well, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm inconsistent. Oh, you didn't even... Oh, by the way, you forgot to add the plus 35. So that's 6
Gotcha.
degrees of success.
There is a noticeable shift in how the vessel moves when Aravar gets on the helm. What once was a relatively fast, probably almost like ballistic missile kind of thing, it went for its target, it sorted it out, it got there. The vessel now sings as it flies. It dances round the asteroids with a casual disdain for them.
But I said go over the asteroids.
Okay. goes over the asteroids with a casual disdain and an unnatural speed. You don't know what he's doing, but he's really good at it.
Yoo! Ed was at the front of the ship.
It takes a few hours to get there. It's a relatively short flight. Okay, it takes one less hour to get there. As you start getting closer and closer, you notice a small planet, who I will put some information. It's a tiny little planet with a ring of debris around it. Its surface is jagged and difficult to see. It's probably no bigger than the moon that we know in real life. It's got mountains, it's got continents though, so it's still pretty approachable. There's no clear sign of human habitation on the side of the planet you're approaching.
Can we do another scan? Can we scan the planet specifically?
Yes.
Marcella, please do an active scan on the planet. So that's plus 45. Wait, no, that's just plus 40. Sorry.
On what?
Scrutiny. You're scanning the planet so we can find out stuff about it.
So it's plus 40.
Plus 40, yes. 30 for the ship and 10 because I gave you the order. 40 is a success. Woo, critical.
You hunch over the console for a little bit longer, tapping buttons, finding out things, questioning the results that come back. But you're pretty certain that the planet rotates very slowly, and you are on the wrong side from the sun, so you're next to the night side, and the civilization, which looks pretty small, probably a tiny colony, is on the other side of the planet. It looks very basic, probably no more than a town would be in real life, a few thousand people. Tiny.
Fair enough.
You could easily try and land most places on the planet if you'd like.
With our very good scan, did we pick up anything of particular note, like ancient signals, stuff like that?
You didn't pick up any ancient signals, but this planet is full of radiation. It has pockets of radiation across most of the planet.
Question?
Yep.
Is it in the radiation where it is heavily radiated? Can there are there ships there? Crashed ships?
With the roll you got, you're not quite sure. The radiation is disturbing the signals. You could probably have a look, see what's there, or maybe go down to the planet and talk to the people. It would take another scan and probably be a bit closer to specifically look at the radiation areas. There's 6 across the planet.
Well, we can tighten those scans. Shall we do a scan first before going down, or shall we just go down?
I would like to scan the radiated zones.
Do you have scrutiny?
No, but I can try.
Here's a basic skill, okay. Okay, so that's a plus 40, because I'm giving it all ice to say do it, so plus 40. Any negatives from trying to look directly into the radiation zones?
No.
Okay.
Hey!
Really good success.
So now that you've looked at these specific areas, you notice that you don't think it's a ship specifically. You think it's a series of broken parts and items from all across the continent are just a little bit radioactive enough in an area but it causes problems. This planet is essentially a giant scrapyard.
Any scrap we have detected which looks particularly interesting?
In the radiation areas, no. Bearing in mind you are sitting above it in a planet, if you're looking for even some of the biggest things, they're still minuscule on your scanners.
True. We should go down and ask the local population.
Fair enough. Alright. Edward picks up his shirt that's been on the floor. Pulls it back on.
Did you do this entire thing shirtless?
I could, but I wouldn't be having my armor on, would I?
Okay, I just thought I'd ask.
Also, I'm not going into a radiation zone without a shirt.
But the shit doesn't matter.
I know I wouldn't do anything. Alright, grab void suits.
This is my lead shirt. Protects me.
Yes, this is my lead shirt. Don't lick it. Anyway, grab the void suits, because they'll be radiation shielded, right?
Yes.
Alright, grab the void suits, and let's vamoose.
So, what do you order your ship to do while you go down? Or do you order the ship to land?
Well, our ship's a few kilometers long. It can't land.
Well, I mean, it can land, it's just getting it back into the atmosphere is the problem.
I am not falling for that GM trick to cause for another endeavor which keeps us trapped on this planet longer than possible. I'm joking, man, don't worry.
Yeah.
But if I say no, I'm just going to tell the ship to stay in orbit and scan the surrounding area to make sure nothing comes and sneaks up on us.
Okay. The crew semi-competently do that.
Oh, by the way, I get to take some dudes with me.
Some dudes?
Yes,
I'm
because
assuming you take the rest of the party.
I take the rest of the party, but I can also take, due to my skill Area of Authority, I can take 1d10 plus 4 people with me.
Okay, roll.
7. I can take 11 people with me. So I take
Do you want
11.
to take guards, armsmen?
I'm taking armsmen, yes.
You have 11 guardsmen, armsmen. They're basically the security forces of your ship. So how do you all get down there?
We take a gun cutter.
You have those?
Are you saying we have them, or are you asking if we have them?
That was a question.
Well, it's something that ships do have, but that's up to you as the GM if we had them at the start.
I didn't realise, but I'm going to assume for simplicity's sake that you do.
Okay, we got a gun cutter.
Leaving the bridge, Edward summons some guardsmen to come and help him on the trip. Do any of you want to prepare or do something before you go down?
I got nothing in mind.
Make sure like everything's functional as far as like gear goes, because Xenos and human land doesn't work out so well.
Edward's taking his armor and his weapons.
Isabella? Marcella? Anything? Isabella? Marcella?
Yeah.
Are you both doing anything, or are you just coming down to the planet with them?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a short walk to the hangar bay to get into the gun cutters. People move to one side quite respectfully as a very armed and armoured troop of you guys heads down there. When you squeeze into a little gun cutter, there's probably about space for one other person, but you're not quite sure if you're willing to try that. Who's going to pilot?
I will.
None of us.
Okay.
Do you have the pilot skill?
Oh shit, I don't.
We're really going to have to sort out who can do what.
Angios, do you have?
Time out. I can, if need be.
Okay.
I don't have any piloting.
So, because the journey down isn't particularly troublesome, I'm not going to make you roll for it.
Okay.
I just wanted to establish who's doing it.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Edward watches as we come down through the atmosphere. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Junk world. What will we find? Hidden treasures lost away, or maybe a 10,000-year-old book describing the foundation of the Imperium, or possibly we'll find junk.
Or all three.
What? There we are. What do you think? What do you think we'll find?
Quite literally, the humans have lost so much. It could be anything.
Apparently we'll find Superman.
They record nothing.
It was just like shrugs.
It's not particularly bumpy as you get down there. You fly over the landscape for a little bit, and you realise just how much junk there is. You haven't seen good solid soil, and you've been flying for a good few thousand miles now. Continents of junk. Soil is a distant memory for these people. Roughly where are you going? You going to a radiation zone, or are you going to the settlement, or are you just going to try and find someone?
I would wait for an order on that one.
Oh great, I'm in charge.
Yeah, you're the captain.
Okay, so what were the options again?
Either you can go to one of these radiation zones that you were looking for, where you could try finding that ship you were looking for, or you could go and talk to the locals, or you can just land anywhere and start picking through the junk to find cool stuff.
Okay, I'm going to roll a 1d6 and it'll depend on what Edward's going to do. 1 to 2 is go meet the locals. 3 to 4 is go to a radiation zone. 5 to 6 is to pick up random junk.
Random junk it is.
Yay!
Edward like points off in distance. Okay, I want us to land round about there. Right by that pile of junk which looks like a pair of... Oh, actually, when you come from here, it's starting to look like a pair of feet, but on from the upper end. It was looking like a pair of,
So the ship lands between these things. The planet on the sensors is reading as being pretty cold. You can see snow and scrap everywhere. You're not in an irradiated zone, so you could probably just get out normally.
Has it got breathable atmosphere?
The scanners say it does.
Oh, fine. Well, I get out. Fairly comfortable. I have a high toughness.
So the boarding ramp slowly lowers and then gets stuck. You can all fit out of it, but it gets caught on some kind of junk, and it's gone about 3/4 of the way down.
Edward
The first thing you notice is that there's no solid footing anywhere. It's piles and piles and piles of random stuff. Some of it is sharp, some of it is not, some of it is flat, there are some tires, all sorts of random stuff. Walking on this thing is going to be a death sentence. You could start digging, though.
Oh, I'm going to take a step out onto this junk pile.
Make a toughness test.
This is where my 50 toughness does absolutely jack squat, doesn't it? Do I get any bonus?
No bonuses.
I am wearing armour.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fine. Woohoo!
So you place your feet down, and you find something relatively solid to stand on. It's bloody freezing around here. You can feel the wind whip around you as you step outside the ship.
And you wanted me to do this shirtless.
I was asking. You're fine, you've got enough clothes on. But staying here a long period of time is going to cause some problems.
Alright, our ship's going to have a scanner, right?
Well, you've got handheld ones, I think. You'd have to check your inventories, but the ship has got a basic scanner, yes.
Alright, Isabel, oh, sorry, no. Marcella, do another scan, please. Yeah, plus 10. That'll be another scrutiny roll, plus 10 from me. Just plus 10.
What are you scanning for?
Well, anything in general in the area.
Oh, okay. You get a lot of conflicted readings on the sonar. You ping out to see what there is, and the signal bounces and distorts, it jumps, and it gets caught in between all of the piles of trash. You know there's stuff out there?
Well, I'm going to have a look around then. Who's coming with me? Hooray.
Irvar would actually like to go with, but do something kind of strange in this situation.
Okay.
Instead of stepping out, like, onto planet, kind of wants to run up the landing deck, or landing ramp, and jump up on top of the actual craft to look around.
Okay, please make an agility check. Climb. Oh no, that's strength, isn't it?
For everyone that's going out of the
Would
ship.
acrobatics work?
Yes, acrobatics would be perfect.
Any modifiers?
I am going to give you a -10 because as soon as you come out, you get blasted by cold air. It throws you off a bit.
Oof.
Now make a toughness test -20.
Oof.
Triple oof.
Oof.
Yeah, I only had a 10% chance, like, it wasn't great.
So you limber up, you get ready, you sprint towards the landing ramp. For everyone else, he moves really quickly. It's elegant. It's almost graceful to see an Eldar move. He runs to the end of the ramp, tries to swing upwards, almost in an arc, onto the top of the vehicle. And something goes wrong. You're not sure if he misjudged it, or there was a gust of wind, or he just slipped on something icy. But he smacks chest first into the top, into the roof. So he's now his feet are on the roof, and his head is dangling into the compartment.
Partially on the roof. I'll take it.
Edward looks up to him. Hi, Arva.
One extra thing, Aravar. It is freezing. Take a point of fatigue down.
Okay.
Well,
Do I also do I also need to roll toughness?
If you're leaving the ship, then yes.
Alright.
oof.
Please take a point of fatigue damage. As you much more sedately walk out of the ship, the wind whips about, picking up particles and stuff and all sorts of snow, and you almost hunch as you come forward, bracing against the wind.
Well, time to go exploring. Edward's going to start walking off in a random direction.
What are the armsmen doing?
Well, they can come with me if they want. Do they want to? That's up to you. You're in charge.
I mean, technically you are.
Well, Edward's not making them. If they're going to stay on the ship, they can stay on the ship.
They are ready to accept orders.
Hey, what do you want to do then? I turn to the armsman.
They kind of look at one another. They don't think they have good enough boots, but if you order them out there, they'll follow you.
Do you want to go out there?
Not particularly, sir. It looks cold.
Okay, you go stay here. Bye then. Make some hot chocolate while we're gone.
Isabella, are you staying with
I'm gonna
the
leave.
armsman?
No, I'm gonna leave the ship.
Okay, please make a toughness roll. And while you're doing that, Marcella, what are you doing?
I decide to leave the ship as well.
Okay, please make a toughness roll.
How do I do that?
Yeah, how do I do that?
Ah, okay. On your character sheets, there is a stat called toughness. Click
Yeah.
it.
I mean,
There's
how
no
many do I need to do?
modifiers.
Okay.
You only need to do it once.
Oof.
I'll find it first.
On
Oh,
your
there it
character
is.
sheet. It's obviously a lot colder than you all thought it was. As you get out, you hunch into your clothing because the wind is whipping about, kicking up snow. If you failed, take a level of fatigue damage. A person can take, but your toughness is, let's say, 30 something. Depending on the first number, so 30 or 20 or whatever, you can take that many fatigue damage before you fall unconscious. So, Marcella and Isabella, please take 1 fatigue damage each.
How does one do that?
Note it down. It will disappear with 1 hour's good solid rest.
Hmm. So I'm going to start wandering off in a direction.
Leading the others,
If they
or
want to follow me.
Erevar wants to crawl up onto the ship proper and
Okay.
set up there, kind of watch him go. Overwatch.
okay. It's a bit undignified, but you do get on the top. Engius, are you following Aravar up to the top of the ship, or Edward into his adventures?
I would rather stay back and scan the surrounding a little bit and see if I can find anything related to a void ship.
A void ship, okay. So, are you scanning as well, Aravar, or is it just Engius?
I'm not scanning, no. I would just be looking around. Using physical eyes, not scanny eyes.
Okay, so it is scrutiny for you, Aravar, and it is tech use for you, Engius.
Oh, come on.
You can re-roll with fate points.
Fuck it.
I should probably have said that for everyone.
Damn it.
You forgot to add your combi tool, by the way.
Are you wanting specifically scrutiny or awareness? Like, I'm just looking out for general hazards, not like specific thing.
From what I understand, awareness is more of a, like, being prepared for traps. Scrutiny is more of a looking.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
I see nothing.
Big Arctic gales sweep across the landscape, blocking your view. The dice aren't going very well today, are they?
Well, the rolls are so
Nope.
low. Anyway, Edward's going to just wander off through this winter wonderland of junk, see what he finds.
So make an agility test. Make sure you stand upright, because the floor is completely unstable.
Du-du-du. I'm going to fake point that. What the fuck?
Wow,
Press
this
F.
is...
Dice aren't with us today.
You put your foot down on essentially a sheet of metal. You think, oh, that's pretty stable, that will work. And then you take your foot off the other part that you were standing on, and you just go sliding down. It's a nice little toboggan, and you have a lovely race down the bottom of this pile of junk, but you're not where you thought you were.
Whee! I hit the button.
For everyone else, the captain disappears down the hill.
You just hear a wee as we travel down it. As I land on the bottom, probably upside down, I pick myself up, dust myself off, and look about. Do I see anything of interest?
So, you've found yourself in a valley of junk. This entire planet is, well, not the entire, but it's full of junk. You have found yourself within shouting distance of what appears to be some kind of mining expedition. You can hear and see the smoke rising from the distance, people hammering and moving scrap.
Oh, fair enough. Well, I start walking towards them.
With the others?
No, they follow.
From what I understand of the leader, you're supposed to give orders, not just let them do it.
I am causing chaos because Edward is a bit of an idiot.
A bit.
Are you going to inform them that you found some habitation?
Odd yes, even no. Oopsie. Odd yes, even no. Yes, I informed them. I says, "Hey guys, there's some people over this way. I'm just gonna go see if they're okay."
So, Edward, you start walking off towards the inhabitation. Everyone else, you are now sitting or standing near the shuttle on a planet full of random junk. It's cold, it's wet, there's not much space to stand, and your captain has walked off. What do you do?
Keep looking around for void ships.
For just the contents of void ships, or?
Now, if I can see like the outlining of a void ship, you know, so I can like, oh, that's a void ship right there. We might want to go there.
Okay. Tech use. Vega,
Yeah.
what would you like to do?
I'll follow him.
What, me or Engius?
You.
Okay.
Yay! Made it.
Excellent. So this is you scanning around. The ship's scanner is pretty basic, but that hill over there, that could convincingly be a ship that's covered in junk and rust and stuff. Edward is heading southeast. To go to that ship, you'd have to go east. So it's nearby.
Alright, then start heading east.
Okay, Aravar and Marcella, what are you doing? People are now just randomly wandering off from the ship.
I would actually like to try to radio Edward and tell him to adjust his course north.
Okay, do that in character.
Okay. I'm gonna tap the micro bead built into his armor. Captain Edward, are you...
Can you repeat that? You cut out.
Oh, basically just tapping micro bead to life, like built into armor, asking if you were there.
Oh, hey, Aravar. There's some people this way. I'm gonna go see what they're up to.
Ingius just left the ship, or the shuttle. He is moving to the south. It appears that you are moving to the southeast. If you head north, you should run into him. He was scanning for something and just started walking.
Hold on, tap my company. Hello, Engius!
Hello.
You found something?
I believe I found the outlining of a void ship hidden in some debris.
Edward immediately pulls a 180 and starts walking back. Coming after you!
Understood. Continuing on foot.
Edward just walks back to the ship and gets into the ship and looks over. Take the ship off and follow Engius.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
What?
I'm still on top of ship.
Then get back inside.
If spooling up the engines, yes, Aerofire would slide back into the ship.
For the sake of your dignity, I'm going to say you do it successfully.
I was like, that I can acrobatics if you want, like.
Nah, don't worry.
But I'm also cool with accepting dignity.
So, as Edward is walking towards the shuttle, he bumps into Isabella, who's coming to follow him. She's heading southeast.
Oh, hi Isabella, how you doing? Engius just found something.
Okay.
So we're going back to the ship, taking off and going to go see what it is.
Well, let's go then.
Excellent. Bit cold here, isn't it?
Yes. Chilly.
So, Engius, can you make an agility test? Acrobatics, if you have.
So it's just gonna be agility.
No pluses or minuses.
Damn it, why am I rolling so high today?
Did you fate point it, or are you just using that one?
I only have one thing left.
Okay. It is a long and slow process to get there. You are clambering over pipes, you are jumping through broken doorways, you're climbing over broken weapons. All sorts of things are littered around here. You probably see even a few little vehicles that you have to jump or climb over or through. It takes some time, but you are heading in the right direction.
Should get a mechadendroid when I get back on the ship.
Pardon?
A mechadendroid. You know, one of those arms on your back which can lift stuff.
Well, you're using that to do what?
No, he's
No, I
saying he's
need
going
one
to
of
get
those.
one.
Oh, sorry, you need to get one when you're back
Yeah.
on the ship. Sorry. So with the exception of Engius, everyone is back on the ship, right?
I believe so.
The engines warm up and hum pleasantly as the ship hovers above the ground and goes in the general direction of Engius, who is slowly making his way towards what appears to be a hill.
I've imagined that the ship just starts flying along and then slowly just like floats above Engius's head. And he doesn't notice for a short way as we're just following him.
If that's agreeable with Engius.
Can you repeat?
Oh, basically, I imagine what happens is we just fly towards you, but we hover over your head, but you might not notice. Might not.
Oh, I'm okay with that.
So you're spending a lot of time clambering over things, or avoiding sharp spikes that come out of the floor, or jumping little distances that you don't hear or notice the ship above you.
Edward's in the ship, just drinking some of the hot chocolate. Think you should
The
hurry
ship-
up at all.
The ship is pleasantly warm. It's a nice temperature, a comfy temperature. So, eventually, Engius has to look slightly further up a little bump to notice, to see where he's going towards the mountain. And he notices the ship above him. Does anyone want to talk to him or communicate?
I guess not.
I mean,
I was gonna say I will tap Combead and Injus. Would you care for?
No, I might lose sight of the objective. I will
Very-
continue on foot.
Very well, we'll follow.
Assuming this situation continues, NGS will take a few hours to get there. The ship will patiently hover above him unless anyone complains.
let's see how good Edward's patience is. He's quite patient.
It's not a particularly difficult journey for you, NGS. It's just complicated. You have to work out what will collapse under you, what you can grab onto, what might hurt you. As you're proceeding along this junk pile, the sun goes down slowly. It's not quite nighttime, but it's evening, shall we say. The shadows are getting longer, it's getting more challenging to see things. After a fair whack of time, probably 2-3 hours, you stand at the bottom of what the scans told you was a void ship hidden under piles and piles of junk.
I tap my combeat. We have finally arrived.
Edward lands the ships and gets out. Excellent. How was your walk?
Tiring.
Right, let's go explore this ship. Where's the way in? He rubs his hands together.
Not sure yet.
A ship this big, assuming the whole mountain is the ship, would probably have quite a few ways in, or you could just drill or bomb your way in. It would take a bit of time and a bit of luck to find the entrances, though.
Well, time to use a scanner. Well, actually, I'm going to roll scrutiny for Edward and just see Edward just stumbles upon it by luck. Any pluses or minuses?
What, just randomly looking?
Just randomly looking.
I can say -20. There's a lot of crap out there.
I would not succeed in that. Because I have an 18.
So either you can all get out and start looking, you'd find it pretty quickly, but you might hurt yourself in the process, or you could fly the ship around and scan, or you could ask the dramatic compensation in orbit to just blast a hole in.
I'm not damaging my potential property. Ingius, perform a scan as we fly around.
Understood.
So with Aravar's elegant flying, you spin round the mountain at a relatively slow speed. I'm not going to make you roll for the scanning, because eventually you will find something. It's just a matter of how long it takes. So can you roll 1d10, Engius?
And also you got...
It takes 6 hours to find something. There's a lot of junk around here. The sun has well and truly set now. The heat that it provided has disappeared, making the environment even more of a challenge. But you're pretty certain you found what looks like an airlock that is partially covered, but you could easily move it with the number of people you've got. It would get you in the ship.
Well, we can just go back to the ship and come back tomorrow. Who wants to do that?
I would rather stay down here. someone might come and take it. Or loot it.
Well, I guess so. Okay. Actually, could we use the gun cutter's guns to just blow away the scrap that's around the docking collar?
I'd have to check what guns it has, but you'd almost certainly damage it.
The entire ship.
No, not the entire thing, just the docking port, the airlock.
Crazy idea.
I
How
love
about
those.
if not use guns, but use the engines? Essentially create a shit ton of rotor wash to help blow away the debris from the shuttle.
That potentially could work. I mean, it's not gigantic bars or beams or something. It's not like whole cars are in front of it. But yeah, you could probably move quite a bit of it with your engines. The remainder you'd have to move by hand, but yeah.
Right. Please do that.
So I'm going to combead Ingius and tell him to hold his position and take cover.
I start taking cover.
And we do that.
Due to fancy flying, you stop. It's about a third of the way round the ship from where NGS will appear, where he appeared, and you lower the ship slowly, your gun cutter, and start blasting away the debris from the entranceway. NGS, you're a suitable distance away that you're not going to get hurt, but it is flying everywhere. You've got huge bars and chunks, armor plating from other things, even an engine or two.
You just said... Never mind.
Yeah, nothing big.
I activate my conversion shield in case something goes flying my way.
Okay. It takes probably 5 minutes, but you think everything has been cleared.
Alright, then I turn my conversion shield off and I start heading towards the... what's it called again?
Airlock.
Airlock, that's the one.
I get out the ship and follow Engis.
You heroically jump out of the ship that's in midair blasting stuff away, or you ask him to land?
Ask him to land.
Yeah, as knowing that it's clear enough, I would land.
Okay. So it's now pretty cold again. Because it's nighttime, it's difficult. Can you all make a toughness again? It's going to be -10 this time.
Mm-hmm. Hooray!
Nice turn. Thank you.
And NGS, one from you as well?
Alright. Of course. Still the film with the plus.
Okay, so Marcella, Aravar, and NGS take an extra point of fatigue.
Would they have recovered the other ship fatigue from being in the ship at all?
That's quite true. Well, Aravar wouldn't, he wasn't resting, he was piloting, and NGS was busy walking, so he wouldn't. But Marcella, you're fine. You now have 1 fatigue again. If it ever gets to equal your toughness bonus, please tell me.
Okay.
Not specifically you, everyone.
We're close, but we're not there yet.
Okay, so the door to this ship is open, well, is free, so you can now, sorry, it's clear of debris, so you can now open it. The armsmen kind of get out, shiver amongst themselves, mutter something about this godforsaken little rock, and stand in order around the door, the airlock, waiting for commands.
Well,
What is everyone else doing?
Well, so Angius, do you want this door preserved at all?
We should. I do not know the state of the ship itself.
I'm
Would
going
be
to...
recover it intact.
Is
or
the
just-
door... Sorry, you first.
Just it would be come in handy if we just keep it intact.
I'm going to then roll my strength to try and pull the door open.
I would assist.
The door is designed to survive the void of space. Are you sure?
Is there any locking mechanisms? Or unhandled unlocking mechanism?
Assumedly, yes. They'd probably have to be interfaced with by NGS rather than just physically ripped open. But yeah.
Oh, fine.
Would I know where such an interface is?
It's a standard design for the Imperium. There's a little pad just slightly to the right of the door, which doesn't look like it has power, but you can probably deal with that.
Then I start interacting with it.
Okay.
If we could just, sorry, if we could just have 5 seconds for me to stop recording for a second and just start re-recording.
If you stop, and we'll take a little break. Okay.
3, 2, 1.